Hello and welcome to Turning On to Harbor. My name is Jack and you can find me on Twitter at HarborPod, or you can email me at turningontoharbor@gmail.com. This is the first episode of Turning On to Harbor, which is a little bit of a continuation series from an old show called the Mickey D Cast. Shout out if you guys listened to that one way back when. And we are creating a new sort of vibe, and we're doing an audio and video podcast. So if you're on YouTube watching this video right now, thanks a bunch. You're going to see all kinds of pictures on the sides over here and over here. But what we're trying to do is create a better way for you to learn about Disney and Disneyland. And the cool thing about Turning On to Harbor, as you can guess from the subtle Easter egg, I guess, is what you would call it, because Harbor Boulevard is the entrance, one of the entrances to Disneyland, is this is going to be all about Disneyland. I live in Sacramento, California, and actually right now I'm at my grandparents' house. That's why you have a white wall behind me. I'm actually going to have a better microphone and a set behind me next week, but for the time being, this is how it's going to be. And this is only for episode 1, which is a good thing. And so yeah, Turning On to Harbor is going to be all about the Disneyland Resort in Anaheim, California. Oh, and Disney's California Adventure, but I like to group those together. Today we're going to go through the news, and then we're going to go through some reoccurring segments that are going to happen each episode. So we're going to start off with news, as I said, and then we're going to go to the All You Need to Know guide. So what this is a podcast guide to Disneyland. And today we're going to be covering hotels, the best on and the best off property hotels. And so then after we do that, we're going to go to the merchandise item of the week. Then we're going to go to our pin corner. Then we're going to go to what's cooking or poppin' in this week's case. And then finally, we're going to be talking about this week in Star Wars construction. So we're going to be talking about Star Wars Land and looking at some of the pictures that have been posted about the all the dirt that's getting moved around right now. And as they continue to build Star Wars Land, we'll talk a little bit more about it. So without further ado, let's get on to our news items this week. So first up on the news docket is Frozen, the new live show at the Hyperion Theater. And, well, from what the pictures look like, it looks amazing. You're going to have all the same sort of songs, like Let It Go. There's a couple different puppeteers that are going to be doing characters of Olaf and Sven, and you can actually see their faces, and they sing and they talk, but it looks like they're still controlling them. It's really cool. There's these Broadway listed actors, is what the Disney Parks blog was saying, is that all of these actors are from Broadway and coming to do all of this Disney stuff. And it looks very cool and interesting. The sets look amazing. They've been working on this really hard for a long time. But my thought, kind of summing everything up for me, Aladdin was one of my favorite shows to go watch at Disney's California Adventure. I really enjoyed that show a lot. I've been to Disneyland 4 times now, and I think I've seen it every single time I've gone to Disneyland. And just getting to see the genie every year and kind of, in memory of Robin Williams a little bit, and it totally sounds like Robin Williams, and it's kind of the same kind of mannerisms. And, the genie always just does a stellar job. It's very nostalgic for me, but like anything Disney, it's always changing, and this new Frozen show looks awesome, and I'm hoping that because they have the show at the Hyperion across the street, I said that in air quotes for all you podcast listeners, I think that hopefully we will get Muppets Vision 3D back, because right now it's being taken over by the First Time in Forever sing-along. Yay! So hopefully we will get Muppet Vision 3D back, and then we will have only the one Frozen show, and maybe not the entire park will get taken over, but just most of it. For our next news item, we are going to talk about Speak Like a Whale Day. So on June 11th, to promote Finding Dory, Disneyland is putting on Speak Like a Whale Day. And the reason I put this in there is because, one, you get to speak like a whale, it's great, but The main thing is because Turtle Talk with Crush is getting revamped on this day, and I'm so excited for this because Turtle Talk with Crush is, I think, one of the coolest pieces of technology that Disney has come up with in the parks, because the ability to animate Crush talking to you and maybe having somebody's voice behind it, I still can't figure out how they do it, but having something like that is so incredibly cool. And the ability to reimagine this, I guess, for Speak Like a Whale Day is kind of an interesting idea. So what they're going to do is they're going to bring in Dory, they're going to bring in Destiny the whale shark, Bailey the beluga whale, and Hank the septopus, also to talk with Crush. And so I'm curious, is like Ellen DeGeneres going to be there to be the voice of Dory, and it's going to be behind a curtain or something? Like, I don't know. I honestly don't know how that technology works, but it sounds like it's going to be very interesting. Yeah, so I'm very excited about Speak Like a Whale Day. I think there's going to be some cool stuff that comes out of it, and make sure to go check out Finding Dory. Next on our news items, we're going to be talking about Soarin'. Not Soarin' over California, but Soarin' over the world. The newest, latest, and greatest installment in the Soarin' franchise, meaning one of two. And so, very quickly, let's have a word of silence for Jerry Goldsmith's beautiful, beautiful soundtrack for Soarin' over California. Okay, so Soarin' over the world is going to be pretty much the same thing as Soarin' over California, except instead of California, it's going to be the world, as it says. But from some of the pictures that I've seen, it looks like you're going to be able to go over the Great Wall of China, and also get to go to places like the Sydney Opera House in Australia. And there's all kinds of different places you're going to get to go. And honestly, even though I'm super sad because I live in California and I've just loved seeing my culture as a part of the Disney parks in the form of this ride for so long, I think it's going to be a good thing for the quality, because you're definitely starting to see the age of Soarin', the video quality at least. I mean, not the part where you're floating above everyone. That's still amazing to this day, but the video quality is starting to take me out of it. It looks like it was not framed or shot in HD. So I'm hoping what they did for this new one is that they did in fact shoot it in HD, and it'll make it look a little bit even more like you're really floating over everything. That'd be super duper cool to me. There's a Disney Parks blog post with a video that we will share in the description and also in the show notes. So that is Soarin'. That's going to be coming to Disneyland on June 17th. So for our final news item of the week, we're going to talk about Johnny Depp in his Mad Hatter surprise video, which really sparked some imagination for me and makes me super curious about what else we could do with this technology. So if you haven't heard, Johnny Depp did a little thing where he dressed up as the Mad Hatter in London, and then Disney simulcasted his, I don't know, I think it was probably from here to here. On the podcast listeners, that's from about my head to my torso. And they put him in somewhat of like a mirror on the wall, who's the fairest one of them all, kind of frame. And so they would flash his face on there, and people would go over and kind of look, and he would start blinking his eyes. And he's like, whoa, like, check this out, this is super cool. And then he would actually start calling people out and be like, you there in the hat, and be like, whoa, like, what is happening? And then he would like call him by name, and then he actually had conversations with different people. It sounds like it was very, very cool, and it's very technologically advanced, because when you're FaceTiming or Skyping, sometimes there's a little bit of a lag, and it sounded like the challenge of getting this to work is having the Wi-Fi, or however they did it, like having that all ready to go without having excess wires everywhere, and like making sure that it was completely seamless. And it looked from the video like it was. And I think this technology definitely could be used for movies to come. Like, it was a very cool idea, and maybe we can have interacting posters like this more often at Disneyland. whether it be just a random character or it actually be Johnny Depp as the Mad Hatter. Okay, so that is it for the news segment this week, and we're now going to go on to the best hotels on and off property if you're going to. Okay, so hypothetically, you just learned you're going to Disneyland. What? Craziness, insanity, so awesome. You're high-fiving everybody. This is the greatest day of your life. So what's the first thing you do? Make sure you have a place to sleep. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Which hotels are the greatest to go to on and off property? And so I've got one of each for you, and I'm going to give you some of the reasons why. So first of all, if you want to go on property, here are a couple reasons why that's a cool idea. One, you are amazingly close. Especially if you go to the hotel that I'm going to be talking about here in a couple seconds. The other great thing about staying on property is this thing called Magic Mornings. And what Magic Mornings are is you get to be in the park for, I think it's an hour or an hour and a half before. I'm not completely sure. You get to be in the park with other Disneyland Resort hotel guests. So no annual pass holders and no off-property people. But you get the park all to yourself. And a pro tip here, I would suggest going into Disney's California Adventure and grabbing a fast pass for Radiator Springs Racers and then racing, puns, racing over to Radiator Springs Racers and doing that once or twice before the entire crowd before the park opens officially and the entire crowd gets there. That's my pro tip. Mark that. Check that one. Yeah. Okay. So my pick for the greatest hotel on property this is not going by price at all whatsoever, because rooms are starting at $379 per night right now, which is insanity. But if you have that kind of money to spend, definitely go to Disney's Grand Californian Hotel and Spa. And here are a couple reasons why you should go to the Grand Californian. One, they have their own theme park entrance. So what you can do is I think it's either probably the second or third floor. There's an entrance where you can actually get into the park right over by where the Brother Bear country used to be, where all the redwoods are. And they have kind of the nature part. I think it's some sort of Russell's Nature Reserve or something like that. It's super cool, but you turn around the corner and then you are to Paradise Pier. So super quick, super easy to get there from your special theme park entrance. Another thing that's really cool about the Grand Californian is their water slide / pools. So they have a couple different pools. From what I'm seeing here on the map, it looks like there's about 3 or 4 pools. And one of them actually has a water slide that's coming down from a giant redwood tree. And the decor looks insane and really, really, really cool. Another reason why I think the Grand Californian is the greatest hotel on property is because of the atmosphere. Now let me explain myself. When you go to an off-property hotel, sometimes maybe you want to walk. And so the last time that we went, we walked through the Grand Californian to get to downtown Disney to get to the theme park entrance. And every single morning we walk through the Grand Californian, and you just look up at this vast, vast, vast space in the lobby. The ceiling is super high up. I feel like it's probably 80 feet up. It's just crazy. And there's a ton of places to sit. You can see the elevators going up on either side. It looks like it's all made out. There's all this exposed woodwork, and it just, I don't know, it looks super pretty and it just feels super airy. And it makes everything feel open and super nice. And there's lots of places to sit. There's a TV playing old Disney cartoons on one side, and then if you walk, it seems like what it would be a football field length away, then you can go out the other way. But it seems like such a big space. And then the really cool part about it is there are sometimes, you have to catch them at the right time, but there's sometimes a guy on a giant grand piano playing some covers of, all instrumental covers of Disney songs. So like one time when we were walking through there, he was playing Feed the Birds, and it just was like a little bit of, well, like, this is Walt's favorite song. This is super cool. I'm so glad I get to take part in this. You know, it just kind of like interesting stuff like that. So for the Disney fan that is really into that kind of nostalgia, it's a really cool thing. But also just the architecture that had to go into creating this hotel was amazing. And it looks really cool. That's another really another key feature. They also have some really delicious restaurants, and as it says in the name, the Grand Californian Hotel and Spa, they also have a really nice spa. That obviously costs even more, and if you have a giant wallet, is okay. Now that we've said the greatest on-property hotel, let's look off-property for a little while. We're on a budget, and so we need to get an awesome hotel that also won't break the bank. And that, my friends, is why you go to the Annabella. Now, the Annabella is a hotel that's about 10 minutes walking distance from downtown Disney. A couple of really cool things about the Annabella is, for one, it's laid out like a motel, so all the rooms are on the outside. Another really awesome thing about the Annabella is they give you these meal cards. And so what you can do is, in the mornings, instead of having some continental breakfast, you can sit down and they bring you out a menu of a couple different things you can have, and they can make you some eggs and some bacon and some pancakes like that, and it's all included with your meal card that you have. And you get one of those each day you come, and I think you can use that for probably breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but it's the best to use it for breakfast because you want to be in the park the entire time. The Annabella is about $150 per night is what I'm seeing right now on their website, but there's definitely a couple different deals that you can get, and if you stay for 3 nights, you can get the 4th night free, is the deal that they're having as well. They also have one single pool that can get a lot crowded at times. We didn't use the pool at all when we were there because we were in the park for so long, but yeah. The Annabella is definitely a great option when you're on a budget and you want to be close to the park. Couple negatives about the Annabella: the AC unit is on very close. It's mounted on the wall, but it's very close to the ground, so sometimes it drips a little bit and it smells a little musty in the rooms. And it's also not on property, so it's farther away, and you also do not get the magic mornings. But it's a great way to go if you are short on funds and you just want to go to the park and you want to use your hotel as a place to sleep. If that's all you want to do, it's perfect, especially because you get the free breakfast, so then you don't even have to spend money on that. Negatives for the Grand Californian, I just realized I didn't say anything about that, but negative is definitely the price. And then also, there's going to be a lot of people, especially, even though there's the 3 pools, there's always going to be somebody that's, trying to be there. So that is chapter 1 of our All You Need to Know guide. Next week, we're going to be talking about downtown Disney and what's going on there and why you should eat there instead of eating in the park. Now we're going to go on to our merchandise item of the week. So to keep with our theme of the Grand Californian today, we have dove back into the Disney Park Blog's archives from 2014 and found a couple different merchandise items from the Grand Californian Hotel. So what I found for the merchandise item of the week is a pillow that says Grand Californian Hotel and Spa and has a very cool tribal looking pattern on the front, and it also has a couple different hidden Mickeys in it, which is a really cool thing. And then on the back it has a little bit of a faded sunset look with the yellow to the blue to the purple kind of look, very faded, and then it has a giant tree with a couple different hidden Mickeys as well. It's a very cool looking pillow. I'm not sure the price, but you can check it out on the Disney Parks blog, or you can see the picture that we are posting right here on my hand if you're watching the video. So the merchandise segment each week we're hoping to keep somewhat relevant, but because we were talking about the Grand Californian and I found a really cool pillow, I just wanted to include that today. So next week we're thinking it'll be a little bit more relevant to the times, to June 9th as it is. But now we are going to go on to our pin corner. In the pin corner this week, we have decided to continue with the Grand Californian theme and went with pin number 15,599 from pinpicks.com. And so this is the Grand Californian Hotel logo with the faded sunset in the back. It looks a lot like the pillow that I was talking about, but just has a more metallic look and has the words Grand Californian Hotel over the trunk of the tree. So this pin is not a limited edition, was originally priced at $8.50, and if you are looking to maybe either purchase it or trade it, there are 5 people who want to trade on pinpicks.com. So that is our pin corner. That is our pin corner segment this week. And make sure to check out pinpicks.com. We will have a link in the description and the show notes for you to go check them out. So this week on What's Cooking, we're going to be talking about annual pass holder popcorn. Now, if you're not an annual pass holder, unfortunately this does not apply to you, but stay tuned. We have one more little tasty treat for you after we talk about popcorn. So this popcorn is going to be available for annual pass holders from May 30th to September 5th. And what you can do is buy the popcorn bucket, and then you can refill it for $1 each time. It sounds like a very good deal for the people who go to the parks a lot, and it's delicious popcorn, and that's all that needs to be said. Okay, all of you non-AP holders can come back now, because we're going to talk about a delicious treat that is not only for annual pass holders. We're going to New Orleans Square to taste some delicious beignets. And yes, I am talking about the beignets from Louisiana, just a little bit different. They are actual Mickey beignets, kind of like the popsicles, but in fried dough. And I heard about these beignets from my friends Andy and Dale over at the DCast. Make sure to go check them out. We're going to have a link to their podcast in the description and in the show notes. So anyway, these beignets are pretty much fried donuts with powdered sugar on them, and they're, unfortunately, because churro quality has been lacking lately, we've had to figure out a new tasty treat, and this definitely suffices. It's very, very delicious. You need to make sure to grab it the next time you are there. And with that, we're done with our What's Cooking segment, and we go on to the final segment, This Week in Star Wars Construction. So this week in Star Wars Construction, we are going to be talking about a little website called micechat.com. And if you go to the description in the show notes, click this link to the MiceChat website. And if you scroll down a little bit, there is what looks like a park map, and then there's a before and after picture, and then you can scroll between the two of them. It looks really, really cool. It kind of has the layout of what Star Wars Land is going to look like and what it looks like right now. And so you can totally see that it's taking out where Billy Hill and the Hillbillies used to be. They've completely taken that part out, obviously, but it's just a very cool visual representation of what it's going to look like when it's completely done and what it's going to look like on the park map. And then if you scroll down a little bit more, it has some pictures of dirt and dirt and dirt and more dirt. It looks like they are continuing to get rid of the Rivers of America. Yeah, they kind of had to reroute the Rivers of America, which is a bit of a bummer, but if you look at the overall what's going to happen when it's completely done, I think it's totally worth it. Now, if you continue to look at this, there are a couple different pictures. It looks like they just cleared the arches away, if you know what I'm talking about. Most people don't, so you're going to have to go look at these pictures. But they're starting to flatten it out for sure, and once it's flat, they're going to start building on it, which I'm super excited about. So we just have to wait until then, and we'll check back next week about what's happening next week in Star Wars construction. And with that, episode 1 of Turning On to Harbor is done. Thank you so much for tuning in this week, and make sure to stay tuned for next week's episode where we talk about Downtown Disney and all of our other reoccurring segments. So, for Turning On to Harbor, my name is Jack Milliken, and you can find me on Twitter at HarborPod, or you can shoot me an email at turningontoharbor@gmail.com. Thank you so much, guys. Have an awesome week, and we'll see you later. Yeah, done.